Hi all, Rachel from Green Zebra Markets here. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about how our business runs and exactly what the social enterprise business model is. Basically, at the end of the day, we are a net zero, non-profit company. And what that means is that any of the food that you buy at our markets and the proceeds made off of that, the proceeds are fed directly back into the market program so that we can actually have the market and run the market. It goes to pay for transportation costs, administrative and printing costs, and for wages. Although we are primarily volunteer run, and I will be earning a living wage eventually. At the moment, I am not currently taking a wage. But when I do, it will be a living wage, and any staff members I hire as well will also be earning a living wage. That differs a little bit from what a lot of people are used to. So projects for the social good, nonprofits and charities, they're used to them being funded by taxpayers' funds or other grants. We are choosing not to rely solely on grants. They're too unpredictable. You can put a lot of time and effort into grant applications with a completely uncertain outcome. You might not get the grant in the end, or even if you do 1 year, the next year the entire granting program might disappear, and then all of a sudden the community service disappears because you're reliant on that and you have no other means of funding yourself. With this, it allows the funding to be community-based. So the community is paying into having the market there. In exchange, they get a valuable service. They get a wonderful community gathering space, getting people out of the isolation of their apartments and condos down to a central community gathering space where they can meet new people, meet their neighbors, have interesting conversations, trade recipes, and to just talk about life in general, and just form those important human connections that we so often lose in the isolation of Vancouver. And this is a little bit different from nonprofits. I mentioned a lot of people have asked me, why don't you register as a nonprofit or a charity? Wouldn't that make it a lot easier for you to get funding? Well, it wouldn't for the reasons I just described. The funding is too unreliable. It's true, I would be eligible for a number of different grants if I did that, but what I would have to give up is not worth it to me. I'm going to stick true with trying to maintain our own funding throughout this project so that you won't suddenly show up at the market on market day and it just not be there. And that's very important to me, consistency of service in the community. The other factor to consider is the difference between our company, which is a community contribution company. It is a hybrid between a traditional company and a nonprofit organization, in which a large percentage of any kind of assets or proceeds are always going to be designated towards the social good. Whether that means us spending the money in the community to deliver community-based programs like our markets, or if we chose, we could also use that money to donate to a registered nonprofit or charity of our choice. Now, this guarantees to community stakeholders and volunteers and other folks that we are always going to have this double bottom line of social good and financial viability. You always have to have the financial piece in there because you need to be responsible. You can't go into and stay in debt. You need to be at least breaking even at the end of the day. But the social good piece, I think, is very important. And with community contribution companies, no matter if the company changes hands or in the worst case scenario dissolves, a good percentage of any assets would then be designated and could only be donated to nonprofits or charitable organizations. It can't just go into somebody's pocket and disappear. It can't be paid out. The bulk of it can't be paid out to our shareholders or something like that. So you're always kind of guaranteed that our underlying mission is always going to stay the same. But the difference between that and nonprofits and charities, and the benefit I see, is that somebody like me can be managing the organization and ensuring that the day-to-day operations flow smoothly, and also be earning a living wage and maintain control of the company. with charities or nonprofits, the board members have the final say at the end of the day, and none of the board members can be paid. You cannot earn any kind of a wage or receive remuneration and remain on the board of a nonprofit or charity. So their executive directors are not on the board. They do not get to make the final decision at the end of the day. And for me, it was just too much of a leap of faith. No matter how much I might trust a board that I could get together, at the end of the day, I need to maintain control of the company because I believe I am making decisions in the best interest of the company and therefore the communities in which we serve. And having this company structure really allows us to do that. It also makes it a little bit more certain in terms of tax regulations and government control, because I don't know if you've seen in the news lately, but sometimes, unfortunately, if you get a specific person that is evaluating your nonprofit or charity for tax purposes or whatever, sometimes it seems like it's almost at the personal discretion of that person. And if they don't happen to kind of see your vision or think that it aligns with a nonprofit or charitable cause, then they could have your status revoked. And there would almost be no warning to this. And to get it back is darn near impossible and would be extremely, extremely time consuming. And in the meantime, you're stuck in limbo and you wouldn't be able to continue as normal with your community services that you provide. So that was too risky for me in terms of a business model. The other piece is with the Canada Revenue Agency. And we have seen this, especially with certain environmental organizations. So they may choose to either audit you or just yank your charitable status right out from under you. And again, like, you're then all of a sudden needing to devote the majority of your staff hours pretty much, because these operations normally employ a small number of staff, just to responding to the audit. So all of the community work ends up ceasing just so you can respond to this audit to manage to hang on to your charitable status. And this seems to be particularly geared towards certain charities that are maybe not aligned with the current government views that are in power, which is really unfortunate because I think that is a real abuse of power and betrayal of the public trust, and that all charities and nonprofit under the law should be treated equally and not singled out just because it doesn't mesh with your political viewpoint. So that was another risk that I was unwilling to take. It's not like food security seems all that controversial to you or I, but somebody else might think differently. And if you step on the wrong person's toes or say the wrong thing, then you could run into real problems. And again, just have your nonprofit or charitable status just yanked out from under you, and then you'd be stuck and the community would be stuck. And I don't think that will be a fair or wise decision or route for me to take. So that's why I went the route that I did. And so I hope that you understand a little bit more about what the difference between nonprofits, charities, and community contribution companies are, and kind of the benefits and things, and how we run the company and why we chose to go the way we did. So thanks very much, and I'll see you soon at the market.